Hello, it's Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. This summer, or the end of it, leading into autumn, I was very pleasantly surprised that I could track some foxes from a woodland right the way down through, shall we say, some valleys and hills, and watch them actually hunting in the fields behind my house. It was relatively easy, shall I say, to keep with them and see them due to me being able to follow them on the road, and on top of that follow them by field. I'm going to go and have a little look around the woodlands that I know they came from, and yeah, I'm just going to retrace my footsteps. I haven't got very far without one of my wife's cats deciding it wants to follow me. It's quite an old one, but yeah, if you're not too swift in evading them, they do tend to follow you. This hole in the hedge here gives me a good vantage point looking up through this field system, and I was always able to see them coming down from that top hedge. Yeah, this gave me a good vantage point, and they were fully unaware of me being here. The cat is still with me, but looking up across this field, this is where they came. It was a well-trodden path by them, and it was usually the same times of day. So, and it was almost like regular as clockwork. So they were following a well rehearsed hunting route which they had. This field here, along this hedge line here, is heavily populated with rabbits, and they would obviously be working just over the top of the hill behind that hedge, coming down here, obviously making their way through here. They would cross the road and go into the hedge. From there they would make their way into the next field, which I will quickly show. This field backs onto the village houses, and it's a very small acre paddock. This here, the boundaries are heavily populated with rabbits, and there's been a lot of young ones, and this is where I would actually see them take the rabbits. The field behind this one is got a lot of, like, shall I say, horses. There's a big community of horse riders here, and that itself also had plenty of rabbits, because obviously there was no hunting by, shall we say, people with whatever means people hunt rabbits with taking place in there. So that the foxes were obviously making their way down to this particular ground because it was just so heavily populated with rabbits. This cat shows no sign of wanting to leave me. He's called Casper, and he's at the tail end of his life, but this paddock is also a hunting ground for him, and sadly to say, most cat owners won't experience this, but this cat will take rabbits, and he's big enough to do it, and he has done. It's just something that you have to live with, but a cat is a hunter. I'm going to continue up the road, and hopefully he will stay here and not follow me. Well, Casper is still following. He won't come all the way. He'll probably follow me for another couple fields, which is his typical hunting range, and then he will shall we say, either return hunting or go back to his bed above our tumble dryer. But yes, he's a companion, a bit like a small little dog, I suppose. Well, there he is. I'm hoping he doesn't come the whole way with me. He knows his way home, but it's just not one of those things you want a cat on the road. This field backs onto the system of fields I've just showing you, and there's the gate from another small little paddock. But that hedge line there is the field I was just showing you, and you can see right to the brow of the hill and the other hedge lines, and it made easy tracking of the foxes as they came down. They didn't track the outside perimeter, they literally came straight down the centre of the field, so it was relatively easy to keep with them. You can see the lay of the land and how this field is dropping away, because this is at the top of the hill and it's just dropping down now into the valley. You can just make out the treetops of the wood line or wood block that the foxes are coming from. Yet again, they have been tending not to follow the hedge line in this fields and just going straight up the middle to the hedge and down over the next set of fields. Some of the locals. Always worth a read before you attempt some of these country lanes. As you can see, we're entering a valley here, and it is really easy to follow the foxes. Like I said, you would be surprised how can I say, they are quite, should we say, not scared of seeing you in the distance, and they'll just carry on about their business, and providing you're not posing no threat, you can actually keep following them from a distance. As you can see, I've got spectacular views across these fields, so if you momentarily lose it, if you just take a pause and just look for the obvious signs of a slight movement, difference of shape, colour, speed of movement, you can actually pick them up again, and then again start tracking them through the fields. These sort of signs are becoming quite common. I believe mostly it's down to Japanese knotweed, so something to bear in mind wherever you're trampling, and avoid trampling on these grounds, because you could end up taking that contamination elsewhere. If you look in the centre, you can actually see where something has been coming up over this hedge line down here. You can clearly see it's been going up over there, and I would strongly suggest that is a fox or possibly a badger. Well, there on the right, we've just been looking down on those fields there, and as I pan around, you will now start to see the wood block in question. And that's where the foxes have been coming from, and I've been able to track them through these fields and quite easily do it through this road which runs alongside these fields. So I haven't had to really work that hard to do it either. It is nice to watch them in operation, but obviously the food source they're looking for is at the opposite side, or shall I say my side of this hillside, which is the rabbit population, particularly the younger ones. Right, I'm at pretty much the last little leg of the road before heading down into this wood block. It's a really beautiful, shall I say, Friday autumn, late afternoon, steely blue skies, no wind when you're off the higher ground, and it's not too cold. Whether I see anything in there today is questionable. I haven't really prepared myself for this, but yes, we'll have a look. This road runs the side and then cuts through the middle of this wood block. It's in pretty poor condition, and further along I will probably just pop up there just out of interest to show you guys that it's of a pretty much broken down state. I don't think this road is actually going to be maintained, because I've got a feeling it's being left to go back to what I'm guessing will be made a bridleway, because it's almost non-drivable by a two-wheeled vehicle now, particularly from this time of year onwards. The water coming down off this road and from the hedges and fields has really taken its toll on this bit of road here. As you can see, it's cut nearly 6 inches away at the side. This is a small ford. There is a lot of water moving over it. As you can see further up, there's a small little cascade of water coming down through those trees, willows, brambles and that. And yet again, it is going through an opening which goes into the wood block. Yeah, I'm not actually on a dirt track, this is actually a road. As you can see the condition of it here. I'm going to make my way gingerly across this because I do have boots, but as you can see it's getting deep, so I'm probably going to have to skirt around the perimeter there and get back on this bit of road. This side of the woodland, I do always hear a lot of shotguns going off when there is hunting taking place. I did see, I think I saw a van on the road at the top, so I'm possibly not going to attempt to go in that top bit because there could actually be somebody in there hunting at this moment. And if you're, shall we say, country wise, woodblocks and woodlands aren't just there, shall we say, for people just to assume that they're not worked or managed or even hunted in. As I will always say, you need to have a little bit of knowledge and know what you're doing, even just in the countryside in a piece of woodland, because you know, you may not be alone. This is the road I've just come up in question. To get this far in a two-wheeled car, you'd be doing well. You're definitely not going to be getting your Ford Mondeo up there. And you're definitely going to need something like a Land Rover to go there. So it's definitely out of the reaches of most, shall we say, of people's vehicles. Right then, as you can see, between this both hedgerows, you can quite clearly see it's nothing but a stretch of water. They're not puddles, they are in some places up to your knees, and there is a separating rise just up around here, but you drop down into another one. And this is how it continues till it reaches the entrance on a road. Like I say, this was tarmacked, but as you can see, it no longer is what you could call a usable road by the general public. You can clearly see by the colours of these ferns that they are dying back really fast. When they do go, they go really quick, and then it starts to open up the hedgerows that little bit more, because ferns do provide really dense coverage. This is a great time of year for fungus, mushrooms, and basically anything of that nature to be around, because it's damp, and this is, well, the time of year that is pretty much their time of year, where they come to the floor. I'm just beginning myself personally to get acquainted with the different types of mushrooms and funguses. Traditionally, I've not really, shall we say, studied them to any depth, but I'm beginning to do so now. That's looking a pretty impressive ash tree there, and it's got a lot of leaves and it's looking really healthy, which is nice to see as regard to the ash species. This isn't a rule of thumb or a guarantee, but when you're looking to investigate for foxes, badgers, or even rabbits and things like that, as a rule of thumb, if you skirt the perimeter between the fields and the wood block, the hedgerow, on the wood side of it, that is where you can quite often find they've buried into, because they've obviously got the sanctuary of the woods, but yet the easy access to the field system and food within it or food beyond. That's not a guarantee, but it's a fair good chance you will find what you're looking for along the hedge system inside the wood. At the minute there is still a lot of shall we say vegetation beginning to die off, but there's still a lot of it to do too much investigation without getting yourself and your clothes ripped to pieces within the interior of the wood. But yes, I'm just going to continue searching the hedge line. Something's clearly been digging here. I've got no idea what it could have been, but I'll just have a quick look over here. What's that? That I've just found some pellets. That is a little pellet. That's rabbit. So that was obviously done by a rabbit. That was pretty easy actually, and I think most people with a very quick look, just as I've done, would be able to deduce what that was. I've just found some crab apples here, very small ones. They have been nibbled and eaten. I'm trying to find a tree, but there isn't anything I can recognise as a crabapple tree just here. I am continuing my look, but there are one or two other ones here, so I'm going to continue looking because this has intrigued me. And I can see another one here that's been eaten, so bit of a mystery to me. I'm beginning to think something's brought it here to eat. Oh, there's another one down here. They always say, or is that saying, the apples don't fall very far from the tree. So whether I need to get my eyes tested, or I really am struggling to get to grips with it, but I am really intrigued to where this tree is, because there's quite a few of these crab apples here. Yeah, so I'm going to continue having a look for these at the minute, because it's bugging me at the moment. Well, I continued my search for that tree. I couldn't find it, so I'm 100% certain those apples were transported there. By what? I don't know, but they were showing signs of being eaten. I tracked that hedge line as far as I could before, shall we say, thick undergrowth stopped me, and plenty of rabbit holes and one really big warren towards the end corner of the field, but nothing that would suggest foxes. I'm pretty much sure I'm going to have to come back and continue my search. No, it's not disappointing that I haven't found it, because it just means the mystery's still there, and I've got to continue looking. I know they are coming from here. Like I said, I've watched them come down into here, this wood block, so they are residing in here. It is a substantial wood block, more than it looks on the video, because it runs the whole length of the valley from this top bit. And the undergrowth is dying fast, so I will continue my search over the winter months. I'm beginning to lose light, so I'm going to have one quick walk down a track, which is an old forestry track here that I'm going to be going. I won't be pushing through bushwhacking or making my own, and then I will have to turn around and head back home. I will take a different route back home, but yeah, it's been a pleasant late afternoon walk, and you never know what you're going to see. Well, whoever decided to do this little bit of artwork here clearly has missed their, shall we say, time frame, because it's clearly something out of the tie-dye 80s eras, but hey, 10 out of 10 for trying. Just the wrong, shall we say, time. Just out of interest, this is the hiking stick, one that I've made that I'm using today. It's got my compass and North Star on the handle. It's got my burnt on hair artwork, and obviously my logo, and one of my copper tips, Kerno, obviously Cornwall. And yeah, I use copper because of the should we say mining heritage to Cornwall. But yeah, this is a piece of oak. It's got a peaked handle, and this has served me well on many a hike. As you can see, the copper is holding up. It's been well abused, and it gives me plenty of grip. So yeah, just a quick little look at this one. This is my own personal one. Like I said, it's oak, so yeah, it's my companion. As I said previously, I'm heading down this track. I know where it goes. I've walked this one quite a few times. These tracks here aren't very well used, despite the tie-dye on the gate. That was probably as far as where those, I would suggest, teenagers got. They probably parked up there, had a few drinks, and perhaps stayed overnight, had a bit of a party there, and called it a day. They certainly probably wouldn't have ventured this deep into the woods. Yeah, as you can see, it's evident enough that you can walk it. It is getting overgrown, and it probably won't be used till they decide to come and log a certain part of this forest. There is some really substantial nice trees in here. You can probably just get to grips with the fact that the light is going as well. And further down this side of the bank, that's where the river's running. You can hear it, you just can't see it at the minute through the undergrowth. I'm just going to make my way down here for a little bit more. I'm hoping I will get to see the stream or river and see how much this recent rainfall has affected it. And then I will have to turn around because it is getting too dark. Just a quick word of note, I did actually go up into that side of the river, and when I did do that, not on this occasion obviously, I think that was last year, and I did find a deer stalker's ladder with chair halfway up the tree. So I do know that that this wood is frequented, or this part of the wood, by deer stalkers. The reason I'm saying that is, when they are in the woods, you will actually see signs they will put on the gate saying shooting in progress, which will either say do not enter, or it will say stick to the paths. I would suggest in a forestry like this, it would probably say do not enter. Take heed to those, because even though it's their responsibility not to, well, shall we say, let a round off which could endanger life, knowingly or unknowingly, it's not worth putting yourself at any danger or risk, and basically, you know, ruining your day, their day, and yeah, just pay heed to signs in the countryside. They are there for a reason. In stark contrast to each other, you can see newly planted trees for commercial logging, and the ones, should we say, to the left of it, as you can see reaching for the skyline, they're ones that weren't taken and will probably be earmarked for the very near future. But yeah, you can clearly see the contrast between the new and the old. The deers would really love those new ones, and I dare say if I ventured over there, you would find protective skirts to those trees to stop the deers helping themselves to the fresh young bark of those trees. At nearly the bottom of this valley, there is a old collapsed shed building. Looks very eerie. I'll just pop over and have a very quick little look. Avoiding all the water on the sides and tripping over the brambles. There. As the light is fading, that shed is really standing out, or building. I'm trying to make my way through here. I won't be going through that puddle. And here we are. I'm going to get a bit closer. That is a monster tree there. Bringing you around, walking down this pathway. Here you go. Some sort of building. What it was used for, not quite sure. But hey, it does make the imagination speed up a little bit. And talking of that, I must now make my way out before it gets too dark in here. Light is going, even if it doesn't look it. Well, thanks for coming along. When I have a quick look at home, if I've got those photographs of the foxes in the summer, they will be of poor quality because they were taken on the phone on the hoof. But if I do have them, I will attach them to the end. So I'm going to sign out here and make my way home. So yeah, all the best. This is Andy from Folklore Hiking Sticks. Cheers. I think the big boy there is missing his female companions. You don't want to be going in on the right side of that fence, because he's definitely a big old boy.